YOLO Composing Gloves here, and today we're going to be looking at a beat by an artist who goes by the name Substevo. And it's a Drake type beat. We're going to give it an overall criticism, talk about strong points. There's a lot of things that are good about what has gone down here. And we're also going to talk about some things that could be improved on, or maybe some aspects of mixing that could be considered that could make it shine just a little bit more. We're going to listen up to a certain point, because after that it's sort of, the same thing. And there's also, we're not going to listen to this section because, well, you hear it again over here anyways. But the clap gets randomly louder, and I am like 99% sure that's a mistake. So, because it gets like really loud, not like a little louder. Anyways, let's give it a listen real quick. Just give it a general feel for the overall mixing, balance, panning, space, all that stuff. So right there, this space becomes a lot more, I would call it like, spacious. Space becomes more spacious. Anyways, you're given a better feel because we have things that are being panned. Elements are happening in different spots. Pretty handy. We got the pads coming in. And so, there'd be a rapper on top of this doing their thing. So let's go ahead and talk about the strong points. Everything is balanced pretty much where I would expect it to be. Like, it makes sense to me, the volume levels that have been chosen. I think panning has also been considered in a tasteful way, meaning sometimes I see people who just pan like crazy, where I think this one made some sense, a lot more sense. It was good panning anyways. That's what I thought. So like, for example, I call them the snakes, these guys. Oh man, those snakes, dude. And stuff like that. And then we have all these like smaller elements, like, and that's been panning, that one like jumps around, like one's over there and then it like goes up over there a little bit. So we have this movement. So I think those are all really well done. I think we could probably get a little bit more out of the kick. The dull kick, not the 808, because we have basically three kinds of kicks here. We have this one, which is like the bottom end. We've got this guy. I think that's the one we could get a little bit more out of. And then we also have this bass hit, which happens over here. We didn't play the bridge, the B section. I don't know, this bit. And right here in this particular section, the organ, I feel, could be a lot wider because you're going to be putting a voice in there. And I guess you could put the voice on the edges, but to me, it sounds like really mono, like a little too mono. So I feel like we could maybe open that up just a little bit more. But hey, let's just go ahead and start doing some stuff. So right off at the beginning, we have our intro. I think everything in the intro is fine. And since the levels are now like 80% of the mixing is the levels in the panning, since those things are pretty taken care of, we could focus on things like, typically I would also add in songwriting here, but since this isn't my beat, I'm not going to touch any of that stuff. But you're going to look for spots where you could give it a little polish that will make it really unique. Perhaps where the beat comes in, you do something like unexpected there. I think already it's got a number of really useful musical elements. Things like the xylophone down here, I think maybe since they're sitting still, we might be able to change their panning from section to section, and that could be interesting. So for example, we start off. It's like in the background, and since it's mono, it's sort of just like, it's just sitting back there. And you take note that it's happening, but I feel like it's just because it's got that delay, it's calling for some sort of like a panning thing. But I would do it with the panning. So I would put what's called the ping pong on that so that it would go back and forth between your two headphones, and that would sound cool, I think. But since I don't have that actual delay because I'm working with the stem, maybe we could mess with the stereo image a little bit instead. So what we could do is perhaps just automate the panning on it. So you just pop this guy open. Something a little like this. And then we want it to be, not as intense. There are two sort of ideas about how to do this. One is make a maximum and then come in here and turn down the min and max range inside the automation clip itself. But in this case, I generally tend to do things like this just because that's just how I do things. And then maybe this one, starts a little bit off and comes back on. I don't know. A little cross action, like it's moving like that. And then comes back to the center. Finds it zen. We're going to copy that. And we're going to paste that. I'm a little bit off from 50. I guess it's not bad to be a little bit off. I mean, being all perfect is kind of weird, but for this, I think we want that. See, here we've got like several elements at once, and so we could easily make it a little more open just by moving some elements off. So stuff like this adds small touches that really open up the space and make it a lot more defined. Maybe we'll leave that one mono, be like surprising. I can't. I don't like the mono-ness. I like it moving a lot more, just like a little bit. I don't know if you guys played Dead Cells, but they just did their final release, and I am so stoked over it. Anyways, focus. Here we go. So let's try this on this guy. Let's go the other way. I like that one more. And then we'll go back to mono. And so you get the idea. We would do that a bunch. Maybe if this repeats, we could take stuff we've already done. The regular interval. Make it a thing. Like here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. This is what we're gonna do. Oh, you know what? The bridge, maybe we'll do something different. Maybe we'll totally change stereo image. I don't know. We could do something crazy right here. Well, not crazy, but like we could really change the sound up. Maybe put some verb, bring some verb in on it. Have it like this big thing. Let me show you what I mean. What am I talking about? So this section, we're gonna bring on an effect. We'll just bring on a verb. I'll go to the fruitsy reverb, because I don't want to pull out stuff you might not have. So do this. Oh, I don't know. Maybe the original person's not gonna like this, but I think it sounds dang. Bring the verb up. We could mess for a bit on the verb. I try not to overthink these too much though, because there's just so many controls. I just want to make sure, probably don't need most of the bass. And then the K I thought could be maybe a bit longer. The ER stands for early reflections. We care more about late reflections in this case. The early reflections aren't like massively important to us. Yeah, I like that. And because it's spaced out, you really get to hear it. Okay, so here's where we want this back off. Now, because we did that here, we might want to have a piece of it on just like a bit. Man, here I hear like a call and a response. So it's like do 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 da da do 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 do. You know, like a high one coming down. I don't know. That's just from us. That's just what I hear. Yeah, I dig where this. Yeah, I dig that. So let's go ahead. We're gonna cut this and continue our panning. Adventures in panning. And we'll cut that one. I realize there's a shortcut, but I need an open track to do that. And right now, I'd rather just do this. And there's like a second bridge, but let's call it good for the xylophone for now. I think we've given it some love, and I think it makes quite a dent in just the overall, because it's kind of like it's one of your few melodic elements with like tones, so we could really leverage that. Oh, I've got the verb on. See, at the beginning they won't know the verb is on, and so I want to. What are you doing? Stop that. They won't know the verb's on, so we can have it off, and they'll be like, oh, when this part happens, they'll be like, oh, cool. We might need to like bring it up a bit so it makes sense here. There's something also that's got some white noise on it, and that can sometimes be cool, but I don't like it in this case. I think it might be your... I love the whistle too, by the way. I feel like you could maybe do something with that as well. I want to be careful about introducing too much verb though. Oh no, it's the xylophone. That stinks. Maybe the verb actually a little bit at the beginning then could help with that. Yeah, it's just high. That might just be the way you bounce the stem too. So maybe you'll bounce the stem a bit louder and then turn it down, and that could maybe help with that. If that's something you want to get rid of. I personally would try and eliminate it. But if you can't, it's not a kill thing. It's like, that's like a tiny thing. But upon closer inspection, something I'm like, probably try and get rid of that. Let's look at the kick. Now, parts of the kick get masked, and that's fine. There's parts though, I feel like when I talk about the kick here, what I'm gonna do is more of a beat thing. All your kicks sound like the same volume level, and a lot of life could probably be given to it having. Oh no, you've got a couple softer ones. I think there's ones that could just be quite a bit louder though. You've got the headroom for it, so we could really take advantage of it. So let's go ahead and for this, I think the best way to do it is just a straight up volume automation. If you had like the MIDI, you know, just go into the MIDI. Because I get like this heartbeat sort of deal. So maybe come up here. Actually, I want to copy the initial value. Whoops. Because this to me is like an after beat. And then we'll do that again. I'm going to give myself an extra track for this. It'd be dope if there's some way to select everything beneath and just shift it all down without having to do this big selection thing. Anyways. Do it again here. They come together here, the bass does. that one, you just listen. I'm just using like, I'm like, where would this make sense to go? That one could be quite a bit because it's all by itself. It's all by its lonesome. Oh wait, we need to make this unique. It's too much. Yeah, I like that. So anyways, I'd go through and do that. It looks like you've already considered dynamic sum. I think you could have a bigger dynamic range with your kick. And with this, let's take a look at its spectrum and see if we can't finagle. I kind of like it because it's kind of like a dull one. Sort of makes sense for this. It's not like a big snappy slap in the face. It's like a nice relaxing kick. Can you imagine getting kicked relaxedly? Whatever. Now, like, this mastering is gonna screw us over if we're not careful here. So maybe what we'll do. Let's take a. I need to see the. I want to see the channel while I'm doing this. So I'm looking for, let me explain what I'm doing. I'm looking for the frequency that sits well. That like, this is a thing that should be pumping. Because we're not doing a lot and it tends to sit around, well, it doesn't tend to. It sits around the same row of notes. So if we find that one spot that really hits well, we want that thing to ring out. And so in this case, I've deduced it's around 58 hertz. And then I'm just gonna bring it back some. And this is a move that in mastering, you'd go back and adjust. So I tend to do my mix, then I master, and then if there are any moves like this, I'd go back and change them according to however my master came out. Because sometimes it can be a bit tricky to determine how it's gonna come out. Because maybe you'll do something really creative in mastering. Typically you don't, but anyways. And then for the bass, since we boosted around 58 hertz, let's look around. Well, we boosted at 58 hertz. So let's put an EQ on that guy. Let's check out what's going on there. Whoops. I tried zooming in to this. You guys zoom in like this. So let's take 2, move it on down to, well, let's go to 1. Yeah, nah, let's just 1 go over there. Let's take 2. You know, I wonder if moving these without changing anything will have an effect, because these should control the band splits. I bet you it does. I don't know. Now I'm like, I don't want to. Oh, but down here, it shouldn't matter. So go to 58. If you have Neutron, Neutron will do this for you with complement EQing if you use it. Doesn't look like there's anything already going on in that range. I don't think any tonally. I don't think anything tonally, as in spectrum wise, really needs to be done to the bass. I have a tendency to want to put like a little high shelf on it. But this could blur things for the rapper, but maybe, I don't know. It's like one of those, make your choice. Maybe spot around. I have a tendency to want something a little more like that. So you could definitely hear the kick not struggling nearly as much. And I think the bass is a little bit more defined. So that's my take on that stuff. That's something that, like, you know, you'd adjust it, give it some reference listens. Let's listen to when the this guy. So he's the one that is responsible for the low boom. I can't hardly hear him at all. He is so soft. Like 24, like this could probably be just turned up. Like, I don't know about you, but to me that's a big difference. Without, or I guess we'll have to undo my move. So we'll undo it. I just turned it up. So here it is. It's basically not there. And then we turn it up. So yeah, don't be afraid to turn the low end up. I mean, I think we caution too much against it sometimes. Sometimes it's appropriate. So sometimes it's not. But in this case, like, this was almost non-existent. So let's bring it up. I like that. I like that so much more. All I had to do is turn it up too. So that was just a volume choice. Opinions may vary. So let's go over to, so we have a different kick that comes in, and then we have like the bridge, and we haven't touched the pads yet. So let's go ahead and look at those. I think the stuff you did with the conga and stuff, and the rattlesnake stuff, that's already, I wouldn't touch it. Sounds, I don't know, I think that's great. Good job. I like the verb on the snappiness. Snap. Might edge this up a smidge. Let's look at an EQ too. Maybe we could just boost a particular part of the spectrum. This one. This is another one of those incredibly soft. This one is you can hear this though because there's nothing going on down there. Before you were competing with bass, the other, not the bass necessarily, but like it's a bass, but not a bass in sense of like it had a lot of low frequencies as we saw. Let's go to an EQ though. This one, since it's the only thing really happening down there, it shines through even though it's super soft. And so we see it's like a pitch bend kind of thing. So like if we boost a particular area, we'll get sort of like, we'll be messing with the pitch envelope in a amplitude kind of way. And since it settles in this region, we could boost all the notes they settled to without affecting the attack of the kick, or you could do vice versa. We could boost this and take this away. And you get, you know, that's a nice effect. You might want that. And this has more of the tone, where this is like more of the fundamentals of the drum. I kind of prefer this one. This is like on one of those things that like top 5 mixing mistakes. I don't know if this is a mistake, man. This is something though that when you master, you might come back, turn this back down, because maybe typically the bass will come up more than you think it will. So there we go. We've got that. Maybe back it down. It's one of those things where like, and then on your, what is that? A Rhodes thing? An organ thing? Where are you? That whistle's so cool. Might benefit from some verb. That's up to taste though. I think I'd slap a little bit on there. fades into space. The snap, I think, is a tad loud. I named it Snappy. I mean, I'd sit back a little bit. Where the crap is this organ thing? It's right here. Is it this thing? No, it's not. There's nothing on that. You're tripping. Oh, it's the guitar. It's a guitar. It's not a... What are you talking about? Rhodes thing. Okay, so I guess it's a guitar. Now that I hear that, I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense. I want to put a stereo thing on it and mess with space. Stereo shaper. And they've got 3 in the effects that I rather enjoy, but I have doubles of like everything. Anyways. I think so. Am I getting, is this like louder? Holy crap, that's a big difference. Yeah, I think this is a good idea. I was trying to basically it's just moving the phase and delay knobs in this case. So this will affect your stereo image compatibility. So you want to do some test listens, make sure it's something you got that's still presentable. But I think this is like it makes it sound so much wider and bigger. And this is one that also, I kind of want to put everything through just like a Verb bus, like a light one, a small one that just sort of will add, because what I'm thinking is like, you know, we set up let's dock something. I'm going to dock. Sounds like I'm going to call it the verb train, and just put it through everything through a light Verb. I would use 2016 Eventide stereo room, but I don't know if you have that. So just because it's excellent for what I'm thinking, because then you'd follow it up with a little bit of bus compression, and I think that would sound nice. But let's go ahead. Let's just stick with the fruity Verb for now. Holy crap. Why can't I find my Verb? It's in delay reverb. Fruity. I don't know why I've been using the menu so much today. I really should just use the plugin picker. Okay, so right now we're gonna take this guitar. And now the guitar is actually a little loud. And we're gonna send the guitar to this. We're going to get rid of the dry, make it all wet, and bring the early reflections up. Oh my gosh. You have a great beat, man. It's just missing that last little bit. I think that's about it. Now, the other thing we want to check for the guitar is let's inspect the spectrum. Just see what's going on. Is it fighting with stuff? Not really. But you can see there is some stuff there. So I'm going to put a little... I'm going to go to type, low pass. I want low cut. So high pass. Like all backwards. Order steep 8. This will cause resonance at the cutoff, but it's not a big deal because there's not really anything happening there anyways. Just keep it out of our kick land, which is like 58 hertz. So we're at like 87. So we are cleared. And then that whistle, now we can bring the whistle in. Where are you, you whistle? Oh, you know what? We could automate this jazz. This could sound cool. The whistle might need a different verb. Just because of the nature of a whistle. Look at this jazz. This is like tricked out fanciness. I mostly just want to see varies with delays. Nothing dense here. Is it stereo? Do you have a stereo whistle? Ew. Ears don't deceive me. Let's try adding a not one of those. What the heck am I doing touching that? We want one of these. This will help with the ringing on the, if you listen without this. You get some of that, like some beats going on. So bring that up and it helps quite a bit with that. That's one of those things that your ear will pick up with time. Let's bring the size up. So with the mid side, so like the mid you can picture as the mono and the side you can picture as the stuff that's not in the mono. So the difference between the two channels. So your right and your left channel. So with this kind of a thing, it's nice because we can leave the mid alone and mess with the side a lot more. We can get away with it quite a bit more, I think. So here, this isn't something, I want this to come on over time though. I don't want this at the beginning, because at the beginning we've got like more of that dry sound. Where's my mixer? Where'd it go? So I'm going to automate it on. And since this stuff has now been properly compensated, it actually will sound like really nice. I'm meaning when I sort of said that without explaining what I meant. This stuff used to not have proper delay compensation, so you get like phasing and stuff. So you'd always have to use your ears, but they've recently done a lot of adjustments so that everything's been properly compensated. Let's unmute everything. Try bringing the decay. Let's try it in the mid. I like the more, I think it's a bit more subtle, you know. The choice of panning for the you might consider moving it to the other side. That would happen in real life. And a lot of times you're trying to emulate that. It's just, I have this thing where like, I tend to like things to be like balanced. It's kind of like one of those things where people have to touch a pole a certain number of times. It's like a tick that they have. Like if you touch it with one hand, you have to touch it with the other so it's even. I'm kind of like that with panning. I'm like, if I hear it in this ear too much, I've got to hear it in the other. I've got to turn my head so I can hear it. You know, I don't know. That's definitely probably, I don't know. If anyone else has it, I'm with you there. Anyways, I think we've made, hopefully I pointed out some things that are of interest to you. Let's see here. Anything else? You You might try what in like a vocal synth kind of thing, or a vocoder, or a resonant shift or something on some of these. Could be cool. What I mean by that is like there's a lot of them now. Basically, just slap vocoders and try various pitch automation tools. That's just sort of a modern vibe. I'm cool with it sounding this way the whole time, but this is very repetitive, and I think you could do things with it over time to make it a little spicier. Maybe one thing is just filtering. We can try that out. Very vocal. Let's go grab a filter. Let's try. Actually, when I say filter, I pretty much mean EQ for some of this stuff. I like to make EQ moves and then automate them. Yeah, stuff like that, and then we move it off. That could be interesting. It just adds to that last little bit of quality, you know. I wish you could middle click these to have them reset, but apparently you cannot. Let's move this one around. Stuff like that. It's just tasteful and can add a lot of life to something over time. That has the nature, like a repeating thing like this does. See, at the beginning, we've not heard that yet, so it's interesting. We're like, oh, that's some guys going, ooh, and beat. That's so cool. And then we listen to it, we hear it again. We have some new stuff coming in, so that'll keep it going. Where's the B? This one here is the one you should mess with, because it's gonna happen, and it's right before you do your whole, you move into the next section. So here, that's the one we want to change. So we're gonna grab, automate it, go to our vocal, grab the EQ. We're gonna move this guy around. Prepare to be moved. Not that much. Holy cow, you've ruined it. You're taking it too far this time, composing gloves. And now there's this break here. It's really this bit that's the most important to mess with. But let's, I wanted to add some resonance to it. So I'm going to bring this up and down too. Yeah, you got like a... Oh, this is cut off. What the heck am I doing normalizing this thing? Let's throw some vocal effects on it too, right there. Let's see if we can't merge them in and out. Specifically for this bit here. So this would be isotope. I don't know if we should grab this. We could try pitcher. That could be an interesting result. But if we do it, it could sound really bad too. I don't really know what I'm expecting here. Why am I still using this thing? And we're gonna find out what key. I'm assuming you're in C minor. Oh, you know what? What am I doing messing with picture? Let's do this instead. Let's take this bit here. Wanted the cut tool. Let's make it unique. Make it unique as sample, I mean. Who. Oh, whoa, whoa. I don't know why. Who's not even spelled like that. Let's get rid of this. See, bad idea, but we were experimenting and I thought of a way better idea. Call this the new tone. We do the shifts in new tone. Why not just use new tone? Volume variation. This is resonance, right? Now you'd want to do this on a dry take if you have it without the verb. Oops, no, I wanted it down there. All right, undo my last couple moves. I've made some. I can't remember what I did. I did too much stuff to it. I have this. Oh, that's what I was wrong. Okay, and we're gonna take this, and instead of B, we're gonna move it down to the lower B, because I want to experiment with this. And then we'll take this, and we'll move the formants up. I don't know. We'll go up 7, because that's a perfect fifth. Whatever, close to 7. I kind of like that one more. Where can we go? What's the limits? Probably not that far. Sure, why not? We'll put that there. It's just a little variation. That verb I have on the whistle is too long. That's better. Maybe I'm going back and forth about adding a small bit of mid. No, I'm fine with that. Okay, so I think this is where I'm going to sort of leave it as far as the tutorial goes. Kind of blows my mind how much harder, how much more the bass kicks. We did eat up some headroom though with that. We went from like 10 to 8. Now this peaked at 10. It's just boom. It's just boom. I like it. When everything lines up that we're going to do the big things. Oh, you know what? But I also did the volume adjustment here. Let's try bringing this down. You know what? Instead of these volume moves, you might instead leave these the same and just layer this in. But then, I don't know. There's a variety of things you could try here. Anyways, that's what we have. Better save it. If you have any questions, let me know. Let me give you, I guess, a listen. Let's. There's not really a way to do a before. You know what? I'll play real quick. Here's a before the beat. I'll play through without anything. That moment right there is excellent. Good job. If you have any questions, let me know, subscribe, and have a blessed day.